Do you want a cheap wireless Pro Controller because you just don't want to spend the full price for the obviously better, more superior one? If you have that very specific problem, then this is the review for you. D-Dot guys, it's me, Sergeant Major Mario, what is up? And this is a review of the ProS controller from Subsonic. Did I grab a PS3 controller?
So, I did a review of the Playcons from Snakebite in April, and now that it is May, I finally have another controller to review. I was thinking of doing this monthly, and now the month has passed, it is time to look at the ProS wireless controller retro gaming from Subsonic. I'm thinking of calling it the Super Nintendo for hilarity. Anyway, nonetheless, let's get this thing open. Yeah, I'm using nail scissors to open a fucking box. There we go, got it open. Alright, opening the box up. I dropped the charger. That's handy. But yes, you do get a charger. It is a USB-C, which is very, very good. Which means that, you know, if you have a Pro controller and you just wanted a second cheaper one, obviously, you know, they can share the same charger, which is very handy. This is also used to update. Unlike the Playcon that didn't need an update at the time, this does require an update. But here is the controller. Like that. It's a nice looking controller. It's small. Like, you know, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you know. It is a nice, small, compact controller. It's weird. So I got this for about £25 on Amazon. It normally goes around for about 30. Normally when a controller goes for that price, it's a bit cheap. It feels a bit cheap. These two are different types of plastic. Like this, honestly, I'm not saying it feels on par with like a Super Nintendo controller. It feels quite close. Honestly, it feels really nice. It feels really comfy in the hands. Only problem with the analog sticks, you know, PlayStation too far in. Well, it's only because Subsonic made PS4 controllers, and I guess they had the same shell. Like literally, there's the same shell, except this faceplate isn't on the PS4 one, so they put that there to remove the touch plate. But yeah, so it's a nice little, cute little controller, isn't it? And also in here is instructions. These are important because you can't just simply plug in the controller. Like with the Playcons, it's something weird. So I'm gonna have to look that up. Also, one thing I noticed is the button scheme, which I thought was SNES. They're not. It's weird. It's like it's kind of like they just got it and just turned it. I mean, it's not even Xbox. It's not even PlayStation. Is it PlayStation? No, it's not. Because if it was PlayStation, then that would be on X. Oh, if I can find a picture of what the color and what controller does have the color scheme, you know, I'll put the picture in now. Oh, I should also say that for the review, I have some control games. Unlike with the Playcons, I have way more games to test with this. So I'm going to be using Dragon Ball FighterZ to test the D-pad. I'm going to be using Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for overall button mashing. I'm going to be using Rocket League to test the vibration, and I'm going to be using Fast RMX and maybe Mario Kart 8 Deluxe to test the motion, because yes, it has a gyro sensor in it. Yeah. So in my eyes, that should be a fair rounded test, but who knows, we'll have to wait and see. So let's get to the review. So I'm starting off with Dragon Ball FighterZ. Now I should clarify that I'm not an expert on fighting games. I'm only somewhat decent at Smash Bros. Alone. However, I played enough of FighterZ to know the quarter circle movements off by heart to perform Goku's Kamehameha and the finishing moves. Starting up, the D-pad did not feel right. I was rolling my thumb over the D-pad to perform the moves, but Goku just wasn't doing it, and as you can see, Frieza kicked my ass hard because of that. Even though my thumb rested much easier on the D-pad for this controller, I couldn't bring myself to continue using it, so I went back to the analog stick, which did work fine enough. The buttons didn't feel stiff, nor did they feel loose. I knew what I was hitting, and I was able to get the dramatic finish on Super Broly as Gogeta without any hassle. Fucking love that finish. I moved on to Fast RMX to test out the gyro control. I'm not one to use motion in racing games, but I know how it works on Fast, as I've done it here and there with a sideways Joy-Con when facing my brother. You know, because I like to flex. Show my dominance! I have to say, the gyro does not feel at all responsive. I've had to turn the controller so far just to barely turn the vehicle. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel accurate nor precise. If they decide to tweak the ProS, they need to tweak the gyro for definite. Going to Rocket League. I know some might find it odd that I'm using that game to test the vibration of all things on a controller, considering that Rocket League doesn't even have HD rumble. And you're right, it is odd. However, I've been playing Rocket League since it came out on the Switch. I'm not a professional, but I know how the rumble should feel. And Jesus Christ, this controller is not giving me good feedback. Okay, so the rumble was too intense. It's great for the single ladies, but if you're holding the controller and boosting, your blood will be shaking afterwards. It was way too strong to even play another game. It felt like a bloody washing machine was in my hands and it went on the spin cycle. Moving on to Smash Brothers, I played a few rounds with my mains. I'm happy to say that the ProS was perfectly responsive. I had a few hiccups with inputs, but that was more me getting used to the feel of the controller. The rumble problems are still there, but they're not as big of an issue as they were in Rocket League. I wasn't too bothered and I was still able to keep playing. Good job, Ricky. See you next game. While that was it for the main test, I decided to experiment with the Project Diva Mega Mix demo for the Switch. If you've played that version, you'll know that it recommends you use the D-pad and the face button simultaneously. But with something like the Pro Controller and the Joy-Cons, that's difficult to do. So with the D-pad being above the left analog stick, is it any better? Nope! This is where I discovered the ProS's greatest flaw with the D-pad. It reads multiple inputs. I'm pressing the direction to hold that button down and the controller thinks I pressed multiple, thus saying I pressed the wrong button in the game and prevents me from getting a good score and breaking combos. I even tested this out with Dust, where when I use a D-pad, Dust decided to crouch here and there, even though I was holding left or right and not down at all. This controller needs work, that much is obvious. It's been out for a couple of years, so unfortunately it doesn't look like that'll be happening anytime soon. So, do I recommend this controller? Kind of. As I explained in the script, in the review itself, it has some problems with it. The D-pad needs work. The motion controls are fine, but not on the level of a Pro Controller or even Joy-Cons. And the rumble, good lord, the rumble. I mean, if you can't replicate the HD rumble to that degree, don't put it in at all, because Jesus Christ, my hands felt like they were gonna kill themselves. Felt like I was getting arthritis just from the rumble alone. So, with all the points I've made, I have to give it a 6 out of 10. It's fine. Visually, Visually, it's a lovely looking controller. I mean, the visual aesthetic, very reminiscent of a SNES controller. It's just the D-pad, the rumble. It's not that good of a controller. If you really feel the need to get a Pro Controller, but you're worried about paying the £60, I wouldn't get this first. Don't make this your first choice. But, you know, I can't tell you what to do, can I? Yeah, that's all I gotta say, really. I'll unsubscribe. See you later. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Sergeant Major Mario saying, ciao!